Hello, this is Scott Balicki. I'm a chemistry teacher at Boston Latin School, and in this screencast, I'm going to detail hazardous waste disposal methods in accordance with the Boston Public Schools Science Safety Plan. So, why is chemical disposal important? Primarily because it deals with safety. Safety for our students, safety for ourselves as teachers, for the whole school community, and also for the environment. Following proper chemical disposal guidelines is part of these best professional practices that we as teachers strive to follow. So, admittedly, chemical disposal information can seem a bit intimidating at first. So, it's very important to know where to look. Um, where we would go as teachers of science in Boston is to Section 8 of the Boston Public Schools Science Safety Plan, which details exactly the protocols that we need to follow in order to dispose of hazardous waste. Appendices L and M are also supporting documents that go along with that. But just to help us all feel a little bit more comfortable about our ability to properly manage our hazardous waste disposal in a manner that is safe, realize that over several years, a partnership between the Boston Public Schools and the Environmental Protection Agency went through and reorganized chemical stockrooms at all BPS high schools and removed chemicals that had greater hazardous nature than educational utility. As a result, we should really feel that by being informed and by following proper protocols, we can safely dispose of chemicals that we use in our teaching of science. Um, Jeff Lane from Facilities, whose email address is on the screen here, can support people in any way that they need it. He is the point person for chemical disposal questions. And you can always send an email to bps.science@gmail.com if you have any questions as well. So let me go through some examples of how we would find out how to properly dispose of chemicals. Okay, so the first example is going to come from lessons 7 and 8 of the alchemy unit of Living by Chemistry, in which students carry out a copper cycle. This experiment generates some hazardous waste. So how do we find out how to deal with and dispose of this hazardous waste? What we do is we first go to the BPS Science Weebly. All right, so we're going to go to the BPS Weebly, and in the menu there, we see the Science Safety page. On the Science Safety page, we will see that there is the Symbaloo, which has all these squares with supporting documents, and there's one square that is alchemy safety disposal sheets, safety data sheets, I'm sorry, and disposal information. By clicking on that, we see that brings up one square which is particular to the copper cycle. So we can open this document. All right, this has been prepared particularly for Boston Public School teachers. All right, now if we scroll down, we see all of the chemical reagents that we would use and Flynn disposal methods which accompany that. I'll talk more about where these Flynn disposal methods come from. All right, but just for example, let's say over the course of our lab, we generated an excess of copper sulfate. And we want to know, well, what do I do with this? Can I dump this down the drain? This document, we check and we see what we're supposed to do is pour it into a Department of Transportation shippable container provided to our school, date and label the container, and put it in the designated hazardous waste accumulation area. So there is the answer for what we need to do in this case with the excess copper sulfate. Now, a little bit more about the hazardous waste accumulation area and containers. So if you don't have a proper container, again, contact Jeff Lane, all right, and he will make sure that that gets to your school. And in particular, we label the container with the chemical name, the quantity, the date added, and teacher's initials. And in addition, we fill out the appropriate row of the waste accumulation log, Appendix M. All right. Now, for this hazardous waste, it doesn't have to be picked up weekly or monthly. It has to be picked up annually. Boston Public Schools are all very small waste generating sites. So therefore, they just need to be disposed of by a licensed hazardous waste disposal company before the summer. They shouldn't sit over the summer vacation. So get in touch with Jeff Lane in order to schedule a pickup around June 1st of every school year. Now let's look at another example here, and I'm going to use acetone, which isn't part of the Living by Chemistry curriculum. So we're not going to find particular information about that in on the BPS Science Weebly, but what we can do is use our inventory as a means to properly find out disposal methods. All right, so I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Chemventory here, right, for Boston Latin School. And let's say I've used acetone in an experiment and I want to see how to dispose of it. I can access the safety data sheet from the Chemventory. And if I scroll down in the safety data sheet to section 13, disposal considerations, it says Flynn suggested disposal method 18A is one option. So every year, Flynn publishes a catalog. In the back of the catalog is a list of suggested disposal methods. You can request a catalog from Flynn Scientific's website. You can also find it by Googling online Flynn chemical disposal. Someone has posted a PDF of that. So I look at method 18A, and it basically says to pour it into a pan, provided it's less than 500 milliliters, and evaporate it in the fume hood. All right, and so this is considered to be a safe disposal method for acetone, which I have used in my lesson. Let's look at another example, glacial acetic acid. Okay, so let's say I used glacial acetic acid for a demonstration of the kinetics of an esterification reaction in my AP chemistry class. So I'm going to now go to, again, my Chemventory, and I see acetic acid glacial, and I go to the safety data sheet, and the safety data sheet has suggested disposal considerations, and it says method 24A is one option. So I'm going to scroll down in the document, whoops, to method 24A. Okay, so for organic acids, it says neutralization, after diluting it 20-fold with water, neutralization with sodium carbonate until the pH is neutralized, then pouring down the drain is a safe method for disposal of that glacial acetic acid. Okay, so these are just a couple of examples of how you can either use the BPS Science Weebly, or you can use safety data sheet information, which is linked to your chemical inventory, in order to safely dispose of hazardous waste, which may be generated in your classroom. Okay. Always remember that the BPS Science Safety Plan is posted on the Science Safety page of the BPS Science Weebly, and bps.science@gmail can always be contacted with general questions. If you have particular questions about disposal, Jeff Lane, jlane@bostonpublicschools.org is your contact person there.